I just lived my worst nightmare. A silver Jeep tore through my brick wall and stopped 3 feet from my daughter's bedroom window. 3 feet. If I hadn't built that wall, she'd be gone. But the real nightmare didn't start with the crash. It started when the HOA president, the girl's mother, tried to sue me for it. My name's Hank Gregory. I fix things for a living: engines, fences, whatever's broken. I live up in Augusta, Maine with my wife Pam and our little girl Lily. We've got a small house, a big yard, and until that day, a pretty peaceful life. I built that wall myself, 3 feet high, solid brick, nothing fancy, just enough to mark the property line and keep Lily safe when she played in the front yard. I filed for the permits, passed every inspection, followed every rule. That wall wasn't a problem. It was protection. That morning started quiet. Cool air, sunlight cutting through the fog, coffee steaming on the table. Pam was sorting invoices, I was out in the garage fixing a stubborn mower engine, and Lily was still asleep, her room right behind that wall. Then I heard it. A roar, then a gut-punching crash that shook the ground. For a second I thought a tree had fallen. Then I saw the Jeep. It had smashed through my wall bricks, scattered like red confetti, the nose of the car buried in my yard. The engine was still screaming and the front bumper stopped just short of Lily's window. I froze. Every thought in my head disappeared except one, my daughter. I ran faster than I've ever moved in my life. When I saw her standing in the doorway, safe but terrified, something inside me cracked. The driver door opened and out stumbled a teenage girl, maybe 17, shaking, pale, clutching her phone. She didn't even look at the house she almost plowed into. She just cried, "Mom, it's totaled. My Jeep's ruined." That was it. No apology, no concern, just panic over her car. And then came her mother, Karen Tillman, our HOA president. Pink bathrobe, slippers, hair in a messy bun, phone already out and recording. She wasn't running to help. She was live streaming. This, she screeched to whoever was watching. This is exactly what I've been warning about. An illegal wall, a danger to the community. I just stood there, jaw hanging. Illegal wall. The same wall that had just stopped her daughter from killing mine. I could feel the heat crawling up my neck. My fists clenched. Pam grabbed my arm before I said something I'd regret. "Let her talk," she whispered. "Let her dig the hole." So we did. We stood there in the wreckage watching this woman spin a story where she was the victim and I was the villain. And truth be told, this wasn't our first run-in. Karen had been on my case since the day we moved in. She'd measured my mailbox height, reported me for unauthorized lawn ornaments, even once claimed my grass violated shade uniformity. I wish I were kidding. She'd ruled our HOA for 5 years like a petty dictator with a clipboard. That afternoon the police came, wrote up the report, cited her daughter for reckless driving. I thought that would be the end of it. It wasn't. A week later, I got a thick envelope. Summons and complaint. They were suing me. $25,000 for emotional distress and property damage caused by my negligently constructed wall. I sat at the kitchen table staring at the papers, the words swimming. My wall, the one that saved my kid, was being blamed for someone else's stupidity. Pam read the complaint, set it down, and said quietly, "She wants a war. She's got one." Still, I'll be honest, I felt helpless. I fix engines, not lawsuits. I remember saying, "Maybe we should just pay something, Pam. Maybe it's not worth it." And she looked me dead in the eye and said, "No. We don't give in to bullies. Not ever." So we called a lawyer, Ben Carter. He wasn't flashy, just a calm, sharp guy with sleeves rolled up and that look of someone who's seen every trick in the book. After reading everything, he leaned back, smiled, and said, "Hank, this might be the dumbest lawsuit I've ever seen. And that's good news for you." We gathered everything: permits, inspection reports, photos of the construction, every single document I'd saved. Pam pulled security footage from our camera that showed exactly what happened. The girl's Jeep stopping, pausing, then suddenly launching forward. No obstruction, no blocked view, just pure driver error. We even had audio of Karen screaming about my illegal wall while the car was still smoking. Ben filed a countersuit for damages and legal fees. I thought we'd scared her off. But Karen doesn't retreat, she escalates. A few days later we got another letter, this time from the HOA itself. Apparently my temporary plywood covering the broken wall was an unauthorized modification and an eyesore. I was given 7 days to remove it or pay $100 a day in fines. She was fining me for the hole her daughter made. Pam sent it straight to Ben, who fired back a cease and desist so strong it probably left paper cuts. But the next morning a man showed up at my door, short guy, clipboard polo shirt with Community Standards Inspector embroidered on it. He said he was there to inspect my unapproved barrier. I asked for ID. He handed me a homemade badge that looked printed at Kinko's. "You're not stepping on my property," I said. "Not without a warrant." He tried to wedge his foot in the door. "Big mistake." I stared him down and said, "Move your foot or I'll introduce it to a torque wrench." He left quick. Turns out he wasn't a real inspector. Pam searched every registry, no license, no record. Karen had literally hired a fake officer to intimidate us. That night something in me shifted. I realized she wasn't going to stop until she broke us. So I built something else, a trap. I took an old broken security camera, made it blink with a little red light, and mounted it right by the wall, obvious, almost begging to be tampered with. Then I hid a real camera in the bushes, silent and motion activated. 3 nights later it caught movement, 11 p.m. A kid in a hoodie sneaking up, cutting the wire of the fake camera. I watched it live on my phone. I didn't call the cops. I went outside, flipped on the porch light. He froze, caught like a deer, looking for something I asked. I showed him the live video of himself cutting the wire. His face drained white. He confessed fast. Karen Tillman had paid him $50 to disable my camera, told him I was harassing her family. I walked him home, had his parents witness him writing a full confession. They were mortified. That paper became Exhibit A. When I gave it to Ben, he grinned. "That's not just evidence, Hank. That's a nuke." But Karen wasn't done. She found a new angle, a witness. Our neighbor Finley. Nice old guy who kept to himself. Out of nowhere he submitted a sworn statement saying he'd seen me cut corners and use cheap materials. It was total nonsense. Pam came up with a plan. I went over to Finley's yard, made small talk while she recorded from our porch. I asked about his statement, trying to sound calm. He fumbled, couldn't remember the day he supposedly saw me working. Then Pam walked over, pretending to hold her phone. "Hey, Hank, I was just reviewing our camera audio from the crash," she said sweetly, and played a clip. Finley's own voice filled the air, recorded on the day of the accident, shouting, "Whoa!" She came flying out of there, never even looked. His face went ghost white. The man had forgotten we had him on tape telling the truth. We sent the new audio to Ben. He wrote back 2 words, "Game over." Still, one thing kept nagging at me. Why had that girl floored it like that? It wasn't just panic. Then Lily, our daughter, came to us one evening. "Dad," she said, "some kids at school are saying Brittany was at a party the night before. She was drinking." Pam and I froze. Lily showed us her phone, a screenshot of Brittany's group chat. One message read, "Ugh, my head's pounding. Shouldn't have had so much wine last night. Mom says we'll just blame the neighbor's stupid wall." There it was. The motive. They weren't just suing to win money, they were covering up a possible DUI. We sent it straight to Ben. He called within minutes. "Hank, this is it. They're finished." We were days from the hearing when fate handed us one last miracle. A delivery driver showed up at our door holding a small USB. "I was driving by when it happened," he said. "My dash cam caught the whole thing." We plugged it into Pam's laptop. The footage was crystal clear, the Jeep at the end of Karen's driveway, no obstruction at all. As the driver looked down at her phone, the car lunged forward and smashed straight through my wall. When court day came, I was nervous but ready. Karen and her daughter sat across the room looking like they were at a photo shoot for Sympathy Monthly. Her lawyer called me reckless, claimed I built a dangerous illegal structure. Then Ben stood up. Calm. Controlled. "Your Honor," he said, "every accusation made against my client is false and we can prove it." He started laying bricks, figuratively this time. Permits. Inspection reports. Photos. The video of Karen live streaming the crash. The fake inspector's confession. Finley's contradictory audio. The text messages admitting to drinking. And finally the dash cam video. The whole courtroom went silent as the screen showed Brittany's face lit by her phone right before she slammed into my wall. The judge took off her glasses, stared at Karen, and said, "This is one of the most blatant malicious frauds I've seen in my courtroom." She dismissed the case with prejudice, ordered them to pay all legal fees, and referred the matter for criminal investigation, perjury, false report, insurance fraud. Karen's face crumpled. Her daughter burst into tears. The gavel hit the bench with a sound that felt like justice itself. After that word spread, the HOA voted Karen out. Her little empire of fear collapsed overnight. I joined the board myself, not out of revenge, but because someone had to fix the mess. First rule I passed: any homeowner with a blocked driveway view must install a convex safety mirror. Cheap, sensible, effective. Guess whose hedges counted as blocked Karen's? A week later, I hand-delivered the notice along with a bright new mirror. 30 days to install, I said, smiling. She didn't argue. She just glared, knowing she couldn't fight the rules she'd once abused. Now every morning when she backs out of her driveway, that mirror reflects my rebuilt wall, stronger, straighter, unbreakable, and the home she tried to destroy but couldn't. And me, I still fix things. Engines, pipes, sometimes broken systems. This time I fixed the one that mattered most. Because in the end, being the loudest person on the block doesn't make you right. Evidence does.